Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I will be telling you the exact steps I followed for me to start reading again. I was a big reader back in 9th, 10th and 8th grade, and now that after I came to college I stopped reading all of a sudden because of assignments, tests and semesters. I couldn't possibly read because I had no time. I felt like I had no time, but I had time which I was wasting on scrolling, obviously. And so today I will be telling you how you can start reading non-fiction today and make a habit out of it. So let's get into it. I started reading non-fiction just last year, but I had these books lying around for like 3 years. So the first step is you need a book, okay? You need something that you relate to and you need in your life. So there's that. So selecting a book is the first step. You need to select a book that resonates with you. The next step is keeping the book in a place where you are most likely to read. So I think I've said this in my last video as well, but I'm going to go over it again. So for 3 years, I had my books in a shelf that I wouldn't even touch, like that shelf was supposed to have all the notebooks and old books that I was not going to look at. But I had these new books lying around in that shelf, which meant that I wouldn't be looking at that shelf anyway at any time in the future. So I made the mistake of that and I kept it there and I let it rot there for like 3 years or so. So what you need to do is you need to keep your books in a place that you are going to look at every single day. I have my books right under my laptop, which means that I'll be looking at my laptop, and when I wait a minute, let me show you. So just like I said, I have my laptop here and below it I have my book, which means that it's really accessible to me and I'm going to read it anytime soon. So there's that. And the third step is selecting a time frame where you're most likely to read, or you have free time, so you're most likely to do the thing. So here what I did is I started reading at night at 9 p.m. where I would switch off my mobile network and I will just sit and take my book and I'll just read. So what you need to do is you need to select a particular time frame, and you need to do that because you have to repeat it every single day. So you have to really look at what period of time in your day that you have free, and you need to start reading in that time. So there's that. So selecting a time frame or selecting a time period which is most likely to work for you. Now the fourth step is actually reading. And when you read, you don't have to read it like fiction. You don't need to finish like 4 chapters or 5 chapters or the whole book in one sitting, okay? This is non-fiction, which means that if you're going to read it, it means that you have something to get out of it. So you need not rush when you're reading your non-fiction or your self-help books. When I started reading Atomic Habits, it was really tough to get through first chapter alone because it was not like the fiction that I was used to reading. It was very repetitive. It had so many examples and it had so many instances where the author would go over the same thing over and over again. I think that's essential because sometimes when you start reading, you tend to forget things. So it's really good that authors keep saying the same thing over and over again in non-fiction books. But necessarily what you need to do is you need to start a chapter. You need not read the full chapter. You need to just start reading 2 pages. And then you need to start reading 5 pages in the next day. And when you do that, it's really going to help you understand the concept better and produce actual results. Now if you feel like the book is very boring or not according to your taste. You can just leave it at that and come back to it another time, because I did the exact same thing with another book, which is The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale, and it had too many faith related things, and I didn't feel aligned at that period of time of my life, so I just left it. And then one day, now recently, when I came back to it, I could relate to it so much better. So you can even do that. You can just keep that book away if you're not feeling very drawn to it, and then come back later when you feel okay. Or if you feel like the book is too much for you, or you have so much things that you do not want to read, or that does not align with your life. Like, for example, in the book Mindset by Carl Dweck, she had this whole thing where she had mindset for entrepreneurs and things like that. She had separate chapters for every single field, and I am not going to be an entrepreneur or a parent, so I wasn't really drawn to those topics, so I just skipped those chapters and I read the last chapter. And then after I read the last chapter, I could grasp it what she was trying to say, so I went back to the other chapters. Like, it's not fiction, so you can just skip chapters and go back there and then come back again. But for some books like Atomic Habits, you need to read it fully, from the start to finish, in an order that the author has asked you to read. So there's also that. But some books do provide you with this kind of flexibility where you can jump to one chapter and then come back again to another one. Now the fifth step is actually implementing the book. So now that you've read the book, because it's a non-fiction, it means that you need to implement it in your life. So you need to start, after you finished reading 2 pages, you need to go over it again, just look at it again, and then think about how you can apply it in your life, or think about how it relates to you. Because you need to sit down with fiction. It's just you finish the whole book and then you sit down and you keep remembering the things that happened in the book one last time, and you never look back at it again. But for non-fiction, what you need to do is you need to sit down, and you need to, every single time that you sit down to read, you need to sit down, read a page, and then stop yourself there, and then start thinking to yourself about how the book applies, how the author is connecting to you. I hope I made sense. So I think that's all for the steps you need to start reading a non-fiction book. So I'll just summarize them here. So first, you're going to pick a book that resonates with you or that you want to read. And then the next is you need to place the book in a place where you're most likely to see or look at it, and then you're going to pick it up and read. And then the third step is selecting a time frame which works for you the best, where you're supposed to be reading. You need an uninterrupted time frame for this, where you won't be disturbed, or you don't have any other tasks waiting or pending. So need that. And then the fourth thing is you need to start reading a single page or 5 pages, whatever works with you. Start small. And then the next thing is reading, and then having time for you to interpret what you've just read. Yeah. And that's all, guys. So happy reading, and I'll meet you guys in the next video. Bye.